Welcome to Your Health, Our Problem. I'm Lorenzo Davis, and today we're going to be discussing defensive medicine. This is a departure from normal medical practice that doctors and physicians use as a means to avoid malpractice litigation. To discuss this, today we have Dr. Jessica Smith. She's from St. Luke's Hospital, and she's going to be telling us why doctors and physicians use defensive medicine in the first place.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Defensive medicine is prominent within the healthcare field because physicians do not want to be involved in a lawsuit. This may occur if a patient feels as though they were not getting adequate care or enough care to help their health situation. The physician's response to this might be to perform more tests or medical procedures to ensure that the patient is getting all the information about their situation.
Could that result in a lot of unnecessary bills for the patient?
Yes, it could, but this has really become a standard within the medical field. Many times, the procedures and tests are actually requested by either the patient or family members. A large fear of physicians is that they will miss something if certain tests are not performed.
This does seem like a common trend among doctors and physicians. Can you respond to that controversy?
Physicians struggle to determine what is considered defensive medicine and what is not, because many times they are doing what they believe is best for the patient. Our hope is that we can give the best care to our patients, but we also do not want our patients to feel as though we are forcing unnecessary care onto them and creating piles of medical bills.
Thank you for your input. On that note, we're going to turn it over to Sasha Fierce, who has discovered an individual who has encountered defensive medicine.
Thank you, Lorenzo. I'm at Moravian College joined by Jake Jacobson, a victim of defensive medicine. Hello, Jake. Can you speak to our viewers about your experience with defensive medicine within the healthcare industry?
Hello, Sasha. About 2 years ago, I was in a minor car accident and I was taken to the physician's office as a precautionary measure. When I was being treated, I was asked questions about how I was feeling to determine if I had a head injury. I told my physician I was not experiencing any of the symptoms he was listing. Although I expressed that I was fine, he had me take both a CT scan and an MRI. The results proved that I was correct and that I did not have a head injury. I believe those tests were unnecessary.
Did the physician explain this reasoning behind issuing the tests?
No, unfortunately, he provided no explanation. I was also unaware of the bills I'd be provided with.
What kinds of costs did you have for these tests to be completed?
After my insurance company covered part of the bill, I was charged a couple $100s in order to pay for the rest of the bill. This was difficult to pay as my family was in a difficult financial situation.
Wow. Just an awful example that we hear about far too often in the healthcare industry. A study conducted by authors from Harvard University and the University of Melbourne estimated that defensive medicine is costing America $45.6 billion annually. Defensive medicine is a main reason why so much funding is put into the healthcare industry. It's a continuous issue that should be addressed, and for more information about how we can prevent this, I'll send it back to the studio.
Welcome back to Your Health, Our Problem. After learning about the unfortunate circumstances Jake experienced, we now welcome Diane Williams, a legislator who wants to address the concerns of everyday consumers and physicians. Diane, as a legislator, what can you tell us about the issue of defensive medicine and what needs to be done to help both sides?
Both Dr. Smith and Jake brought many points to the attention to legislators like myself. And as a legislator, it is my job to bring these issues to light so the general public understands them before they become victims themselves. To reduce the use of defensive medicine, we need to enact measures to reduce physician liability, and this in turn should reduce physicians acting upon defensive medicine and patients being subjected to it.
Okay. Do you think you can go into a bit more detail about the legislation?
Of course. So the laws that specifically concern medical malpractice, which includes defensive medicine, fall under a subsection of law called tort law. Tort law is what protects patients from medical malpractice by holding the appropriate party accountable and requiring compensation for the damage that they caused. What I and numerous other legislators suggest to reduce the use of defensive medicine is tort reform. I want to change these tort laws so that physicians are not punished so harshly for their mistakes because they, like everyone else in the world, are only human.
Do you think this is a permanent solution?
No, I do not expect this to completely solve the issue of defensive medicine, but I believe it will at least begin working towards a plan that will.
Okay. Dr. Smith, do you have anything to comment about Diane's legislation change?
I think that this tort reform is at least a start to fixing this issue. The issues physicians face with malpractice litigation can even go beyond defensive medicine, and in some situations can conclude with a mismatch between the outcome of malpractice claims and the merits of the claim.
And how can we as consumers make a change?
I think that reducing defensive medicine starts with educating people on medical malpractice laws.
Education is important, but voting is how we make a difference. As in, voting for legislators who will work to change tort laws. This would lead to fewer situations of defensive medicine, driving down the prices of many medical procedures because they will be less of a necessity, making healthcare more affordable for all.
It seems like defensive medicine is no easy obstacle to tackle, but it looks like the legal and medical community have some incredible insights and ideas towards fixing it. Thanks again to Dr. Jessica Smith and Diane Williams for coming on to Your Health, Our Problem. And we'll see everyone next time.